He was almost 60 when he arrived in Victoria, but almost immediately got the attention of politicians, road builders, railways, and those campaigning for equal rights. And before long, Alfred Waddington had the attention of a nation. Bruce Kirkpatrick now with This Week in History.
Alfred Waddington was born in London, England in 1801, worked and studied in France and Germany, went to San Francisco to start a grocery business, and came to Victoria when he was 57. He was considered ahead of his time.
He was successful as a businessman, successful as an entrepreneur, successful as a visionary, and I think really stirred up and generated public interest in realizing the potential of our province and our country.
He built Waddington Alley in 1858 to access fish markets, bakeries, blacksmiths, wholesalers, even a bowling saloon. The walkway was made of Douglas fir blocks. He aimed as high as the peak named after him, Mount Waddington in BC's Coast Range.
He was actually offered the nomination to be the first mayor of Victoria. He declined that, and he focused instead on his entrepreneurial pursuits and his visionary pursuits in terms of road building and railway building as well.
One of Waddington's visions was a 260-kilometer road from BC's coast to the gold fields of the interior. He wrote the first privately published book on Vancouver Island, Fraser Mines Vindicated, which supported BC gold, but his road to gold did not go far.
Once they completed, I think, about 50 or 60 kilometers. When they returned after the winter season, a lot of their works had been washed away, and they realized that getting through the canyon was going to be near on impossible.
The road work through occupied First Nations territory led to what is known as the Chilcotin War.
The Chilcotin First Nations were simply hungry. They were starving. They saw the work crew. They were well fed, well taken care of. They wanted food, and they were refused. In the end, 19 of Waddington's road crew, 19 men were killed tragically.
Not content to accept road defeat, Alfred Waddington petitioned Sir John A. Macdonald for a railroad from Butte Inlet along the Fraser River onto Edmonton and Red River. The Prime Minister humored Waddington, but ultimately did not support his grand plan.
So John A. referred to Waddington as the respectable old fool, I think somewhat affectionately.
Waddington favored small government and free public education.
He was an early champion of women's rights and First Nations rights and accountable democratic government. He was referred to as a champion of lost causes, and right up until the end, he died of smallpox in Ottawa in 1872. He was enthusiastically fighting for what he believed in.
The city of Victoria restored Waddington Alley in 1992. It remains today a path to the past in the present.
This Week in History, brought to you by the Royal BC Museum, bringing British Columbia's stories together.